And now as we take a big breath, just a deep breath, and allow it to flow out. Creator of all things, as we come into the light, we feel our minds and hearts begin to stir with hope, joy, and understanding. We turn our face to the sun and leave behind feelings of despair and hopelessness. We feel our love, joy, and hopes begin to stir, rise, and to soar. As the plants follow the sun, collectively, we turn our face to that which sustains us and comforts us. The knowing that we choose to love one another and all that surrounds us, we are expressing who we indeed are. Listening to frogs sing, eagle cry, and watching deer gracefully cross our path, we give thanks and express gratitude for all that is. In us, around us, and through us, love abides. And so it is. Now, if you'd please join me for the blessing of our children everywhere on our planet. And this includes the young child within you. We love you. We bless you. We truly appreciate you just the way you are, and we behold the Christ in you. Good morning. My name is Charlotte Coachman, and I'm your worship assistant and prayer chaplain for today. On behalf of Unity in the Olympics, located in Port Angeles, Washington, I welcome you to our Sunday celebration service. At this moment, our building is closed to gatherings, yet our hearts and minds remain open to share love and light with you always. We welcome you wherever you are, and thank you for joining us for our virtual service on Facebook and on YouTube. Let us honor the silence for a brief moment as we center ourselves and connect deeper to the oneness. Join with me now as we recite together our declaration of faith, the fundamental principle of unity movement, as well as unity in the Olympics. There is only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. And let's take a moment and say it one more time together. There is only one power and one presence in the universe and in my life, God, the good, omnipotent. And for today's daily word, our words are world peace. March 7th, 2021. Celebrating diversity and affirming unity, I am a presence of peace in the world. The road to world peace begins with my open-hearted acceptance of those who are different from me. Our world is vast and diverse, and its people come from a wide variety of cultures and histories. The more I learn about those whose lives differ from mine, the more I can appreciate their perspectives and emphasize with their struggles. When I make the decision to understand others, I discover that judgment fades in the light of compassion. Today, I sow peace through my acceptance and understanding. Peace in the world grows as I join my brothers and sisters in celebrating the glory of human diversity and affirming oneness in God. And our verse is from Isaiah chapter 2, verse 4. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. And during our Lenten season, March the 7th, the third living word is oneness. by Reverend Mark Anthony Lord. Behold your son, behold your mother, from John 19:26 through 27, New King James Version. At first glance, Jesus' words to his mother, Mary, and the disciple John might seem odd. Like all that this master teacher said, however, his words are to be taken as spiritual direction. They point to oneness and right relationship with each other. I am a divine creation of God. I am a wonderful, brilliant thought in the mind of God. This is who I am, was, and always will be. This is also true for you, of course. This is our supreme, all-encompassing reality. My less than supreme reality is that which is founded on my fears, which occupy a large chunk of many of my days, if I let them. In less than supreme reality, I have enemies, people and societal groups that don't look like me, think like me, or believe as I believe. There are individuals who don't like me, or who want to fail me. There are people who would harm me, and people whom I see as in my way. All the while this crazy duality experience is taking place, there is, amongst the chaos and wholeness of God, of which I am. It never went away because it cannot go away. The wholeness of God is here and now, and when I focus my immediate attention or prayers on it, the nightmare disintegrates. It was never real, after all. In God, self, it is safe to see all as one. And now, not only is it safe, it is true and wonderful. What gets crucified is the illusion of separation, fear, and suffering. The only way this collective lie of separation will ever be transformed is through you and me, one person at a time. That's what Jesus brilliantly showed us. He refused to buy into or support any world system where the fuel of fear and separation generated power. He knew oneness. He only saw oneness. To Jesus, anything created out of fear and separation was a lie. Child's play, not even worth entertaining, and certainly no threat to him. What Jesus did, you and I can do. We just have to be willing to give up the illusion of separation. There is only one life here of which we are all a part. Excerpted from the 7 Living Words, Accelerator Books, 2008. Now it's time to introduce our guest speaker. Roy's been with us many times before, and he brings us the message In Pursuit of Truth. Feeling confused? There are trying times of conflict, polarity, doubt, and fear. Even as we enter what the Hindus call the Sat Yuga, the age of truth, with a thinning veil, the path may appear even more hazy or strewn with thorns. Our compass may feel outdated, but great ones like Jesus offer time-tested support and guidance, and we are never alone. Come explore this evasive notion of truth and how to recognize and follow it. Roy Holman lives in Everett, Washington, and since 2000 runs Holman Health Connections. He is the author of 2 books, Healing Self, Healing Earth, and Poems from the Passionate Heart. Roy is a 500-hour certified yoga instructor. He is certified in meditation, healing, and is a certified HeartMath coach. Roy speaks and teaches internationally. He and his partner Liz lead retreats all over the globe. Roy has lived several years abroad, including studying in India and doing human rights work in Central America. Roy has a passion for assisting the healing of our earth and evolution of humanity. He teaches with humor and with joy. Roy, here you go.
He's over there now. He moved again. It's really.
Thank you, Shar. Welcome, everybody. So we're going to start with a meditation first. So if you could have one hand on your heart and one on your belly for a moment, and just start to breathe into your belly and your heart. And just feel the movement of the breath in your body. Allowing that to align you with truth, with God. Following that breath back to the source. Remembering what we said a moment ago, I believe Shar said that we're never alone. It's good news. So in line with our theme today, ask Jesus to help you recognize truth. Ask God to help you know truth and discern truth. Ask God or Jesus to help you align with truth. Ask the universe to help you live truth, express truth, speak truth appropriately. And again, as you breathe and feel in your body, if you can recognize that source of truth that lives within you. Ask that you be true to yourself, as Shakespeare said. And also hold intention that you are true to thyself, the bigger self, not aligned with our deceptive egoic self, but the greater self, aligned with divine. And when in doubt, connect with Jesus. I am the way, the truth, and the life, he said. That's pretty clear. If your hands are still on your heart and belly, you can let them become comfortable wherever you like. Take 3 more deep breaths. Breath is a great way to connect with truth source. Okay, welcome. Thank you for welcoming me. Always good to be with my beautiful friends over in Port Angeles, even via Zoom. One of my favorite topics, truth, a big topic. What is true? What is truth? I think Pontius Pilate asked Jesus, what is truth? And Jesus, what I understand, just stared at him like, man, if I tell you what truth is, blow his mind out. I think he stayed silent, if I understand. So I love truth. I'm a Sagittarian. We love truth. My partner Liz, she loves truth. We are, like many of us, very uncomfortable when there's something that's untrue or deception. It feels awful to me, but I've had to get used to it because it is a time of untruth on the planet. It's been a year that's been very challenging for truthers, right? We've got tremendous polarity and censorship and lots of arguments over whose science is correct and mask versus unmasked and vaccine versus anti-vax, and we go back and forth. So it's been a difficult year trying to discern what is truth, and then we end up fighting each other, unfortunately. So the Kali Yuga I mentioned, I think in the introduction, maybe a little bit. The Kali Yuga is, in the Hindu traditions, the last world age that we're coming out of, an age of untruth, kind of what some say the satanic realm of deception and low vibration energy. I have a throat thing going on, so excuse me if I have to take a little pause. I'll try to mute myself when I have to clear my throat. Anyway, we're coming out of this time of deception, and it's been, I had a radio show called 2020 Vision. Many of us were hoping that last year would be the age where we see clearly, like my teacher in India would say, to see is to be free. And I think a lot of that did happen, what some people call red pilling from the Matrix, where people take the red pill, they say, or start to see through the layers of delusion and Maya, the Matrix. And I think that did happen. But I see in 2020 hindsight, I kind of see the last year as more of a lubricating of the veil, loosening it up. And I'm hoping, I'm always optimistic, but I'm hoping 2021 is the year of revelation and really pulling the veil off more. I believe that will happen. I feel very certain. How far, we don't know. It's up to us, and each person has to see at their own pace and level, I think. So I think we're heading into what some say in the Hindu tradition, again, the Sat Yuga. Sat Yuga. Sat in Sanskrit means truth. So some say we're starting to align more with truth, and I'm hoping that's the case. Because right now is, I use the term biblical battle. I don't think I would have used that term before, but it is like a biblical battle going on between truth and untruth. Very fascinating times. Now, as I share today, words are so feeble in attempting to explain truth. Hopefully, I will do my part and allow something bigger than me to come through and share something that's closer to truth. But I will do my best. On that note, here's a quote from Yogananda, who said, Paramahansa Yogananda, he said, "No one can preach God vibrating truth unless he experiences it within himself. Ordinary spiritual teachers speak from book learning and rote, but masters such as Jesus speak truth that is vibrantly alive with the wisdom of God within their consciousness." That's so beautiful. I've had experiences where I felt that vibrating within me. I'm going to try to change my view. All I'm looking at is myself here, and that's not very satisfying. I don't know. I guess that's the only choice I have right now. I miss seeing all your faces. It's very strange. Anyway, I've had experiences where I can feel truth, and I got so excited because, man, like I said, I love truth, and I thought life is going to be so fun. I'll be able to teach truth. And then, of course, it disappeared after I came out of the deep meditation or whatever. Here's another one by Yogananda. Fanatics praise false prophets who speak not truth, but what followers want to hear, steeped in ignorance. I've had a lot of false prophets and hypocritical teachers in my day. And I've learned a lot from them. They can be great to learn from and then usually get the heck away from as quick as you can. I had an experience where I reminded that I was one of those false prophets. I was teaching a retreat in Mexico, and I met a person who was very direct and came to our group and started kind of telling people what he sees in them, you know, not real great boundaries, but really ticked off some people. But he told me, he said, you know, you're not really living your teachings and you're kind of a hypocrite. And I said, yeah, I think that's true. I was open enough to hear him and we became friends. And then over time, I started to see that, oh, he was a hypocrite too. He had a lot of shadow too. So that seems to be the case of all us humans. Almost all of us have quite a bit of hypocritical aspects and shadow. Jesus was not a hypocrite. He called out the hypocrisy. I'm reading the Bible now. I finally got over my resistance to the Bible after 65 years. So I've been reading the Bible and just amazed by just Jesus was living truth. Like John the Baptist said that God gave, I can't remember how he said it, but that he gave Jesus the word, and the word was truth coming right through him. And Jesus called out the hypocrites. And boy, I think there were many times where they wanted to get rid of him. A lot of egos don't like truth very much. Have you noticed that? But he called out the hypocrites. So what I'd like to do in the time remaining here is offer 10 truth tips. See if these are helpful for discerning truth, speaking truth. And the first three are kind of similar, but very important. The first one is, in my view, God is truth, Jesus is truth. You can trust them. So speak to them, talk to them, listen to them, pray, meditate. In Jeremiah 33, call to me and I will answer you and tell you great and unsearchable things that you do not know. So we don't know what we don't know. And sometimes we don't need to know it until we do. So again, we can trust and still hold intention. I think not just ask and you shall receive, but ask and believe and you will receive. I think it's a great intention to say, show me truth. I want to know truth. And I believe that you will show me, opening that door a little bit. Okay. And number two, 10 truth tips. Seek thy will, thy truth. Again, the greater truth. Most of us, many of us on this planet are really chasing our little mini-me egoic wills around, chasing our tail. And as I said earlier, Jesus wasn't very ambiguous. I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. And then Jeremiah 29 said, for I know the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. So aligning with that is a good idea. So let's see. Number three, very similar again, but read the Holy Word. A lot of us read a lot of stuff and study a lot of stuff that often doesn't do much as far as aligning with us with truth. And here's what in Timothy, it says, we are, quote, always learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth, unquote. Which brings us to number 4, acknowledge programming. These next two might upset a few people, but I'm going to say them because in my view, they're very clearly true. That's what we're talking about. Acknowledge programming. All of us are programmed. Maybe Jesus is not the only person I know on the planet at one point that wasn't programmed. It seemed to me, that's my take, but I know that all of us are programmed to a certain degree, and then we're all arguing from our programs, which is one big mess, right? Adding to the polarity. But what I've noticed, and this might upset some people, often that those who are the most educated, the higher learning centers, most academia, are often the most programmed in certain ways and have to sift through what they've learned and say, okay, what is really true here? And of course, we got many other sources of programming, the television being one of them, mainstream media being another one. So Jesus said, I didn't come here to make peace, but to bring a sword, the sword of truth. He came to cut through. He knew this was what some say the Kali Yuga, the age of density and deception. And he came to cut through some of that. As Yogananda said, he came to implant the codes of righteousness into the earth. Really beautiful. The next one is acknowledge evil and deception. Now, this is a biggie. We don't have to resist evil. And in the deepest sense, evil doesn't exist, maybe in the deepest sense. In this world, it's become very clear to me that it exists. And Jesus, did he talk about evil? Yes, he talked about evil and Satan and the enemy and scribes and Pharisees over and over. So I've noticed something, speaking of the previous one, programming, a lot of the spiritual people I know and a lot of the yogis I know, my friends, they want to sing Kumbaya and talk about oneness because it gets uncomfortable. But again, similar to some of us that don't want to look at our stuff and our shadow, it's important to acknowledge that this is a biblical moment. There's a battle between truth and untruth, good and evil. And to me, it's as clear as day right now. And the quote from Ephesians is kind of my motto right now. Do not take part in the unfruitful acts of darkness, but expose them. Don't resist evil. You don't have to focus on it a lot, but acknowledge, because this Luciferian false light, is very clever. Have you noticed? Have another cookie. Just a couple of drinks won't hurt. Maybe a gallon of ice cream. So that's number 5. Number 6, purify the heart. A good question for truth. What would love do now, right? I love that from Conversations with God. They talk about that. What would love do now? Here's from Psalm 51. Create in me a pure spirit, O God, and renew a steadfast spirit within me. Again, I've been reading the Bible, you can tell, for a change, and I'm really enjoying it. Jesus, when he saw, I think it was one of the apostles, Nathaniel, who was called, I think, Bartholomew too, but when he first met him, he was so happy. He said something like, one who has no deceit. He saw right through that this guy had a pure heart. And Jesus loved truth, I believe, just like I do. It's exciting when you see someone really speaking from a pure heart. It's like, oh, how refreshing is that? So I think balancing the head and heart, the head has its place, right? I think it's not just going to the heart, but also using both. But the heart is a wise place to go for truth. Number 7, tips for truth. 3 more. Get in nature. This is kind of a weird one, but I put get in nature and move your body. I'll just give you a mundane example. Liz and I have been trying to think about getting some new countertops and getting into discerning and all that stuff. And you can get in the head, which we did, and try to force things. Just getting out in nature and moving the body gets it out of our head into our body. And nature is truthful. Nature seems to be very honest. So that can be very helpful. I'm going to mute and clear my throat. Okay. Number 8, courage to speak truth and anchor that truth back into the earth, like we talked about. Courage. Again, there's a lot of polarity and untruth. We got cancel culture now and wokeness and mass censorship. It's a very uncomfortable time for truthers right now. So very important to find a way to speak truth appropriately, right? What did Adyashanti say once? He was given a lesson on authenticity, speaking truth, and somebody came back to him and said, yeah, I followed your advice. I went and told this person what a jerk he was. And Adyashanti was saying, no, that wasn't truth. That was your ego spouting all over that person. So that's not what we mean. It's like really aligning. I think there's an Arab proverb about if you're going to shoot an arrow of truth, first dip the tip in honey, sweeten it appropriately. Maybe. Unless it's just like Jesus, he didn't worry about that. He spoke truth, and it was what needed to be said and heard. Most of us are a little sloppier. I know I am. Okay, a couple more tips for truth. Spirit over the letter of the law. In St. Paul, it said, God hath made us able ministers of the New Testament, not of the letter, but of the Spirit. For the letter killeth, and the Spirit giveth life. So Jesus did this about many things, but about the Sabbath, remember when they were after him saying, you can't heal people on the Sabbath. And Jesus said, you hypocrites, he's got like a 3-year ministry. He's got a chance to heal someone that's been suffering for 20 years. He's going to do it. Never mind what day. So what is the point of the rule, the law? What's the spirit, not the letter, right? Rumi talked about it. He said, with respect to the Quran in this case, he said, I've taken the marrow the essence of the Quran and thrown the bones to the dogs. He took the essence and left the hair splitting to others. Okay, so I'll wind it down here. Again, kind of funny looking. All I see is my face on the screen. I don't like talking to myself. Anyway, I know you're there. The last one is faith, tips for truth. Very important one. A couple of quotes from Jesus, and you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free, trusting that. And Jesus and John, I still have many things to say to you, but you cannot bear them now. That's why he spoke in parables, I think, a lot. So I can chew on this for 20 years. I still have many things to say to you, but you cannot bear them now. However, when he, the Spirit of truth, has come, he will guide you into truth. So again, faith that will know what we need to know when we hear it, but still opening up to it. Another quote on truth on faith by Tagore. Faith is the bird which feels the light and sings while the dawn is still dark. The light's coming, the veil is thinning, but it's still pretty dark. So that's the thing, to feel it coming and sing anyway. It's like, I know it's coming, that faith. And the last one from Psalm, his truth shall be your shield. I think the sword is also part of that armor of God, and keep our faith. So I think truth is worth seeking with all our heart. God is worth seeking. Jesus is worth seeking. And I think with the veil thinning, it just might get a lot easier to discern truth in this new energy. So really great to be with you. Thank you. Blessings.
Wow. Thank you so much, Roy, for sharing that wonderful talk on truth. We just can't get enough of that right now. It's very, very helpful to all of us to know that we can each drop into our heart and speak our truth and love those who are having difficulties in that area. So we love you, we bless you, and we truly appreciate you for the way that you are. And we look forward to exploring more with you in our virtual fellowship garden after the service. The link will be available in the comment section to connect following the service. Now it's time for our Lord's Prayer. Please join me in saying the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. Leave us not in temptation, but deliver us from error. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
There's a new church on the horizon, made of light, not of stone, calling out to all creation, you are not alone. Lions and lambs, saints and sinners, best of friends, enemies, woman and man, losers and winners, they are all in you and me. We are one heart, looking for answers. We are one soul, finding our way through the dark. One dream we share together. We are all a part of one heart. Oh, out in the cold, We are one heart, one soul, one dream we share together. We are all apart. Yes, we are one heart, looking for answers. We are one soul, finding our way through the dark. One dream we share together. We are all a part of one heart. Oh, we are one. Yes, we are all a part of one heart.
Now it's time for us to bless our tithes and offerings. So when we're here in the church, we usually like to take it in our hands and hold it. You might just do that and share the energy with your hands. And we thank you in advance for sharing your tithes, gifts, and offerings with us this week. Let us take a moment to hold the thought of your gift in mind and join me in blessing our gifts together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I give in love. Please send your gift by mail to 2917 East Myrtle Street, Port Angeles, Washington, 98362. Or go to our website at www.unityintheolympics.org and click on the big yellow donate button to tithe by credit card or by PayPal. Using your imagination, join us in our closing circle. We gather here, holding hands and standing close because we are safe in the powerful sacred space of divine mind. Hold in mind the loving thought of a friend or a loved one. See them in the presence, feel them, behold them as whole, perfect, and complete as we bring to life James Dillett Freeman's prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. The health of God flows through us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is truly well.